Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday Build Show. I'm your host, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Studio. Yes, that's a virtual background. That's not actually what it looks like. Malik. Hi, I'm the first person to join the thing, right? I believe so. You're the first one to comment on the stream, but welcome, everybody. We're going to be building a PC. Hold on one second. I need it. All right, so let's run through the parts list. I'm probably going to switch to the side view here since we're kind of already set up for the view. You saw me build your PC too? Awesome. So side view here. All right, so we're just going to run through the parts that we're going to be building with today. Maybe make one quick adjustment to the camera. Drop that down. Yeah, there we go. A little bit better. All right. All right, so first off, we'll start by running through the parts. We have a Ryzen 5. This is a 4500 6-core 8-thread processor. Maximum boost of 4.1 gigahertz. So it's the AIM-4 platform. Nothing super crazy about the processor, but it is on the legendary AIM-4 socket, so it's going to be providing lots of upgrade path if they ever wanted to upgrade in the future. I also realize that this is not the right name. All right, fix that. But the AIM-4 socket's been around for quite a long time, and it actually has quite a few CPUs you can upgrade to. So going with this socket leaves a lot of room for improvement or upgrades in the future if you ever wanted to continue and upgrade the PC. But we also have a Thermalright power air cooler, which is the Assassin X120 SE. It's got a 120 millimeter fan. It's PWM. It's black. It's got 4 heat pipes on the cooler itself, and they're copper, which are direct copper contact to the CPU. So it'll really help improve cooling over the stock cooler that does come with the CPU that we're not going to be using. So this is a much better cooler. So it'll definitely help improve the overall cooling for the CPU over the stock cooler. Gigabyte B450M DS3H Wi-Fi micro ATX motherboard that we're going to be using today. You've probably seen me use these a lot, and it's because they are just filled with features and also come at a super great price. You really can't beat the price of that board and its features. We are going with 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 because we need a little bit more RAM for the purpose of this PC, which is a golfing simulator that we're going to be running on this. Hey, what's up, Dankest Rick? How's it going, man? But 3200 megahertz for the speed of the RAM, 32 gigabytes total, 2 16 gig sticks, and it's CL16. That's Team Group T-Force Vulcan for the RAM. The SSD we're going to be building with today is going to be the Silicon Power M.2 NVMe Gen 3. So this is not a Gen 4 drive, but it's Gen 3. But it's 1 terabyte. It's a great drive if you are looking for something for gaming. You know, the golf simulator, this is going to run fine. We do have the graphics card that we selected, which was by Gigabyte as well, because we're pairing it with a Gigabyte motherboard. And I try to do that. Not too bad. Here, hope the build goes great. Same here, man. I'm hoping it does. But Gigabyte, anytime we're building with, like, for example, a Gigabyte motherboard, we'll try to pair it with the graphics card with the motherboard brand for 1, aesthetics, 2, simplicity on the software side. Hey, King, what's up? What are we building today? We're building a golf simulator. So we're building a golf simulator today. This is not going to be running any crazy 4K golf simulator. This is straight up just a 1080p projector that it has to drive. So we don't have to do anything super crazy. And I think we kept this within $800 before taxes, so trying to do that as well. But 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte M.2 SSD, Ryzen 5 4500 on a B450M Wi-Fi DS3H motherboard with a Gigabyte RX 6600 by AMD Radeon, which has got this 8 gigs of GDDR6, PCIe 4.0 compatible, but the motherboard is not 4.0 compatible, so we'll be running at 3.0, which is fine for this card. Then the case we're going to be using was supposed to be the Zalman i4 because we wanted the mesh. Let me set these aside and show you guys the case really quick. But this case was supposed to be a Zalman case, which had a complete mesh side panel. I've built with these before. If you've been following the channel long enough, you probably have seen this. But it's a mesh side panel and a mesh front panel, and that's really for the airflow that we're trying to get for this system. A lot of these golf simulators end up in cabinets. There's one, they're trying to protect the computer, but the cabinet does not allow the PC to breathe. So I like to make this PC, anytime it's a golfing simulator, excuse me. One, I don't like to use glass side panels because if a ball somehow gets towards your PC, it's going to shatter that glass within the blink of an eye. I just sent out an email for a build a couple days ago. Awesome getting to catch you live. Yeah, Dakis Rick. Actually, Rick, I called you today, actually, and left you a voicemail. And then I did send over an estimate. I don't know if you got to take a look at that or not. So I did send one over to you. If you are the person I am thinking, I wrote up today the estimate. Let me know if you have any questions on that, or if you can't find it, because I did send it. But anyway, golfing simulator. Don't like using glass panels. They generally will possibly get broken. So, hey LG chap, what's up? Oh shit, I'll check. I missed a call and didn't notice an email yet, but I'll double check. Yeah, go check your email, the one that you used to submit the form, the build request. It should be there. And also check your junk mail. I don't know why, but sometimes people have told me that the email lands in junk. King, my cousin gave me his old PS2, but he can't find the controllers, but I might buy some. Yeah, those should be actually relatively cheap and easy to find, because there were so many PS2s out there. So I would have to assume there are just a crazy ton of controllers out there. Even aftermarket controllers, you know. But we have this beautiful case. This one is actually by Moroval, which is it's literally the same case. And then we have a total of 6 120mm PWM fans that we're going to be using for this build today. And these are Thermalright TL C12Cs. They're just black. So there's no RGB in the PC unless it's on the graphics card or the motherboard. That's it. Outside of that, we do have a 650 watt gold power supply by Segitap that we're going to be using today. So this thing is a pretty nice power supply. It's not semi-modular or modular at all. It's just your standard 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply. So it's going to be a little bit more efficient, helping with that electric bill. All right, let's go ahead and flip over to a top-down view and we'll start this build. Yep, got the voicemail, but only received the welcome email so far. I'll go look again when I'm off mobile. Yeah, let me know if you didn't get it. There's our Ryzen 5 4500. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the RAM and the SSD. But the CPU is good to go. And our M.2 NVMe SSD, 1 terabyte. What CPU did I install? It's the 4500. You see it. Well, we can get a closer look if you'd like. Come on. There you go. Yep. This is the AMD Ryzen 5 4500 on a B450 DS3H Wi-Fi micro ATX motherboard. The RAM is 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz. And it's got a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 3 SSD. Hey Jesse, thanks for that like over there on Facebook. But I mean, it's going to be a golfing simulator 1080p projector that it's going to be driving. Dankest Rick, yep. I'm definitely stoked to get away from the 7-year-old laptop. Yes, sir. I would be too. Things would be going a little faster. Yes. But let's go ahead and get this cooler installed. Sorry, I forgot to send out some notifications things. This cooler is a Thermalright Assassin X120 SE. Maybe a bit faster. i5 with a 1050 GPU is what I'm struggling with now. Oh boy. What I don't recall what version of that i5 is it. Still not a bad, you know. I guess 1080p might struggle in that now. Today. But not terrible. There we have it. We have our motherboard, CPU, RAM, and SSD and CPU cooler all set, ready to go. We're actually ready for the case. So this is pretty much the Zalman i4, which has a full mesh side panel, but it's actually Marovol, but it's got a they call it the computer case U3, but it has a complete side mesh panel and the front mesh panel, which is what I kind of go for when I'm building golfing simulators, because the balls that they smack, those are live balls, real balls, and they are smacking, and you can damage your glass, especially if it's not in like a cage or something. So I usually like to go with the mesh, and then it also gives it a lot of extra mesh to breathe with, because I've caught a lot of guys with golfing simulators put their computer inside of a cabinet, and ventilation inside that cabinet sucks. So what you're doing is actually cooking the crap out of your PC when you do that. So don't do that, number one. If you do have to put it in a cabinet, make sure it's ventilated, and if it's not ventilated enough, make sure there are cabinet fans. There's literally fans out there designed for media centers, if you're old school enough to remember what a media center is. But it's basically a cabinet with all your TV and music crap and everything that might be inside there, but the fans basically has intake and exhaust. So you'd have intake for fresh air coming in, and then you have exhaust in the back for exhaust hot air going out. Hey, what's up, Precious? Thanks for coming over here and checking out the stream. So just, you know, when you're dealing with these golfing simulator guys, like I said, I just see a lot of them take their computers and put them in cabinets, and then it just cooks. Hey, what's up? So I do try to go with a case with a lot of airflow, and this particular case, like I said, has a complete side panel mesh. So there's just tons of room for this PC to breathe. Probably still not ideal to put it in a cabinet, but it has a better fighting chance in the cabinet. Not exactly sure on the version of the i5. Gotcha. No worries. Amazing how cheap X99 is now. You can get 14-core, 28-thread CPU for $26. Motherboard for less than $100, and RAM is cheap also. Yeah, isn't that... I'm thinking of like... what's that board? There's an older Intel board that carried the i7 5000 series. Maybe you know, Steven, over on YouTube, because I am drawing a blank on that board. Let me know if you remember what board that was. I actually have one of those here right now. I was actually going to stream that, but it was yesterday when I was doing the repairs. Customer brought in an old rig. All it was doing was power on and then immediately shutting off. And if you left it plugged in long enough doing that cycle, which it repeated on off, on off, on off, on off, it would eventually power up, but it wouldn't actually display or actually post. So Socket 2011 is Xeon. Gotcha. Yes. I didn't get to play with very many of those back in the day. I immediately just went to Threadripper. So I've got more experience with Threadripper than I do with the Socket 2011. You know. But anyway, PC ended up just having a bad motherboard. I was hoping it was going to be something silly, like maybe there's not enough pressure on the CPU pushing the CPU down into the pins, but it wasn't the case, unfortunately. So we ended up just replacing the entire motherboard and CPU and RAM, because the RAM was a weird, what was it? I've got it over here, actually. It's that super weird speed, 3300 megahertz. Dominator by Corsair. I don't know if that's too blurry or not, or if it's going to focus. For this stuff, DDR4 came in a kit of 4 4-gig sticks, and there was a total of 8 slots on this board. I could probably bring it over here and show you, but it didn't work. So we ended up just swapping the whole board out with an i5 12600K and a MSI Z790 motherboard and 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 RAM. And I mean, that's all he's going to need. He overbought when he bought this stuff originally anyway. But regardless, it's done. He's fired up and playing again. He picked it up last night, and I was going to do the stream, but I was just so blah yesterday, honestly. we had a cold kind of floating around here the last couple days, so it's not been the greatest. Yeah, it's been about a week since the cold has left the house, but It's just, you just feel kind of like weird after the cold. Just ain't right yet. So the energy levels are a little bit down. Anyway, enough of that. Go ahead and get back to building this. We've got a shit ton of fans to put in here. I'm going to pop this front panel off. That's where we need to start. We're going to remove this piece of shit fan. Sorry, Marvel. But I want only PWM fans in here, so that's what we're going to put in. Most case fans, unless it's like super quality Corsair or Lian Li, are going to be POSs. You don't want super cheap fans because they don't last forever. I'm going to pull these out and we're going to replace them with Thermalright fans that we have to go into this build. Hey microphone, I'm over here. I'm not getting enough out of my 5800X 3D, thinking about getting a 4070 Ti Superport. I mean, that chip will run a 4080 Super. So if you don't think you're getting enough with the current card you have, you're probably going to be itching to get a 4080 Super after you get that 4070 Ti. I'd say save a few bucks. You could pick up a 4080 Super for like another $150, $200, depending on what 4070 Ti you're looking at. So you may as well just go to the 4080 Super. Just an opinion there. But now that we've got this case all the way stripped down, I'm going to get these case fans installed. I think I'm going to go put the case fans on the inside and leave all the room on the outside of the front panel, at least, so that it can pull more air in. 4080 Super is what I've been wanting. Yeah, I put the 4080 Super on that quote with a i9 13900K brick. So you should, I think we're $200 over budget, and then after taxes and shipping, we're a little bit over that. But that was the best I could do to try to cram a 4080 Super with a i9 13900K. 14900K would put us over a little bit. We could drop it down to a 12900K if you wanted, or go with an AMD 7800X 3D and probably save some money there, FYI. Basically, the Intel i9 is a significant cost for that CPU pair. You value my opinion, so it's something I'll think about. Yeah, I mean, I just know with the 5800X 3D, if you want to maximize your potential, as soon as you get the 4070 Ti, you're going to be itching to go get that 4080 Super, especially when it's only within a couple $100 reach. It's not like the 4090, which is a grand, $1,000 away. That's a big difference. The 4080 Super is within reach. It's only a couple $100. I mean, you may as well. And you'll maximize the potential on that 5800X 3D. I know the itch. I know it. I get the itch daily. Anytime I see a new case out, I'm like, oh, I want to try that one out and see how much I can cook stuff. Can I cook eggs on it? That should be a new YouTube series that I start. Can I cook eggs in it? The case review series. I wish I knew the difference. The 13 sounds perfect for me. That's why I went with that, is I felt that that was going to be the right CPU for your budget and for what you're asking. So that's why I picked the 13900K. I mean, honestly, there isn't a huge difference between the 14900K or the 13900K. So if you're trying to pick between one or the other, to me, it doesn't, there's no difference other than the 14900K costs more. That's about it. Performance-wise, I think of them as the same processor. The 14900K might be a little bit more efficient with power. But that's about it. Can't really think of anything else. I wish they didn't put these honeycomb designs on the front of cases. Kind of impedes the airflow a little bit. I wish I knew the difference. The 13 sounds perfect for me. I already read that one. Hi guys, my name's Ben. I do weird things like that, where I reread comments. It makes me feel better. That, or I just have terrible short-term memory and I forgot that I already read it. Hello. This is actually an exceptionally tall case. Just now kind of putting that in my head. Didn't realize how tall the case was. Definitely could put an AIO in here. We're not going to, but definitely could put a 240mm AIO at the top. Lots of room between the top of the case and the motherboard. One complaint so far on this case that I would have is that I would like them to remove the honeycomb designs on cases, especially an airflow case, one where they're going complete airflow. Get rid of this honeycomb shit. You don't need it unless it's there for structure. But I mean, there's different things you can do for structure while not using a honeycomb feature. Wouldn't matter if the fans are on the front or the back, you're impeding the airflow with this. That's all it's doing. We're going to put 2 more fans on the top and then 1 on the rear. Huh, I just thought I was lagging. I'm sorry. Because I was rereading. Nope, I'm just Ben. I do those weird things. You know, it takes a while to get used to, like, streaming in general, and not just, like, talking in front of people, but, or just doing whatever you... Streaming in general. It takes a while to get used to, like, reading the chat, managing the stream, adjusting camera angles, lighting. There's so much that goes into this that a lot of people don't think of. So all the detail behind it, it's just me managing it. So there's going to be a few times where I forget something. I'm only human after all. There's a song there for that. But I just make fun of myself anyway, so it doesn't matter. And if you laughed at it, good. Because that's what it was supposed to do. Supposed to make you laugh. Because I'm special. I'm also a terrible at singing. If you hear me singing, just close the stream. Save your ears. It's a full-time job. Pretty much. But I'm also building a PC all while doing all that, so... I could probably build the PC blindfolded though, so that's not a big deal. I'm going to do the two top fans here. These are going to be exhaust. The front fans we installed are all intake. Now we're just going to get the exhaust, top exhaust fans in. Just going to decide where we're going to put them. I think I'm going to start from the back and work my way forward. We also want these as far rear as possible so that we can draw the air from the front. So by installing these front fans, our intakes coming in this way, and then by installing the top fans all the way back and the rear fan here, it's going to draw this front air to the top and up. So that's kind of the angle we want for the airflow. We want the airflow coming in like this and then going out the top like that. So our fresh air is coming over the top of our hot air, basically pushing it out, and then the exhaust obviously helping. And then we will have the side mesh, which will help breathe any hot air that gets trapped in there. It could escape. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but my mom just went into hospice. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Steven. I will keep your mom in my prayers. It's terrible news. We're going to be looking at that probably in the future here as well, so be right there with you. As morbid as it sounds, it's life. Don't like thinking about it. But anyway, this airflow shall be magnificent in this case. We should be able to a lot of good in this case anyway. But yeah, the biggest complaint I have is the mesh over the top of the fans here. I wish this was just more of an open slot for the airflow, because you already have a dust cover going over it, maybe a couple of rails. That's about all you need here. And then the front, I don't like the honeycomb style here. Whether or not the fans are on the front of this or the back of it, it's impeding the airflow, and you already have a mesh panel that's going to go over the front of it anyway. So it's like double impeding airflow. And I'm not a big fan of that. That is some feedback on the case. The case itself is very tall. It can support a 360 millimeter or 360 millimeter on the front. Or it looks like 140 millimeters, so you probably could put a 420 millimeter AIO on the front, or radiator on the front. if you really wanted to in this case. It looks like it could fit one. Or you could do a 280 or 240 millimeter AIO on the top, radiator on the top. And it definitely has space, it looks like, for a 120 millimeter radiator on the rear if you wanted to, but I wouldn't use a 120 radiator any day of my life. Those are just trash. They belong in the trash bin, unfortunately. The case itself is quite tall, so it is an awkward size. You can see here in the shot where it's tall but short. It's pretty wide, very wide. Definitely handle big cards in here. Wanted them to. Are you doing any OS booting on this build? Boosting? OS boosting? Yeah, really the only things I'll do is install the Windows drivers and then go through and make sure the BIOS is updated, make sure XMP is set on the RAM, and then also make sure the fan curves are good to go for best cooling performance. What else? We'll do some benchmarks, make sure everything's performing where it should be. We'll make sure Windows is set to allow power, meaning no eco-friendly settings set to limit power. We get rid of that. And then what else do we do? Depending on what card it is, it may need a firmware upgrade, and also depending on what fans and things, you might need firmware upgrades for those to make sure everything's up to date when it goes out. So basically, everything's up to date and ready to go, is the idea. And running 100% smoothly without any problems. Running cool, and at its maximum performance without being overclocked. If you want it to be overclocked through us, we use Chamber Tech. If you don't know who Chamber Tech is, he's a very popular PC tuner on X or Twitter. We use him, and he'll go through and do it with us so that you don't have to do the work, but we'll fine-tune it with him and get it running at its maximum performance. Tuned all the way. And then we also do stability testing after that to make sure it's stable and not blue screening on you. You've never seen that done before? Yeah, I mean, there's nothing super... Actually, it's very boring because we're just going back and forth between the same settings while we're benchmarking and stress testing it. So we'll make the slightest change. You know, we'll set what we think it should be for the components that are inside the PC, and then we build off of that or tune it from there. So you have to basically tune it until it's stable to get the sweet spot, so to speak. The problem with tuning is anytime there's an update, you got to be willing to, if you're not tuning it yourself, willing to have somebody come in and pay them to tune it again after every update. So every time there's a change to your graphics card driver, every time there's a change to your chipset driver, every time there's a change to your BIOS, every time there's a change, everything has to be retuned. So this is the frustrating thing about PC tuning, is the slightest change can throw the whole tune off. And a lot of people will do this and tune their PCs, or have somebody come in and tune their PCs thinking it's a one-time thing. It's not. It's going to be a one-time thing, and then every other time something needs to be changed. So generally speaking, if you're not into paying somebody to do it every time something gets changed, then you don't want to do it at all. So that's my advice, generally for tuning. But we do have people that regularly have us come in and do it every time there's a graphics card release, etc. So those are things that we do, and we do that for you so you don't have to. You don't even have to think about it. You just see, hey, Ben needs to get on my PC and do this. Good. Done. That kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of people think it's just a one-time thing. It's not. It's a one-time thing, and then every time something changes on the PC, which, if you think about it, every time NVIDIA graphics card drivers update, which is monthly, that's a change. Anytime you update your BIOS because Windows or Microsoft is forcing you to do a BIOS update, or let's say there's a power outage and for some reason your BIOS isn't, battery is dead or something, who knows, on the motherboard, and your BIOS gets changed. There goes your tune. It's gone. Most tuners should make an OC profile in your BIOS that switches over and saves everything, but not everybody does. And I've just seen way too many people have these issues where they get it tuned, it works great for a month, and then all of a sudden it just runs like a piece of crap. And it's because it's not tuned anymore, it's out of tune, because you updated your drivers, or something got updated or changed in the system. And that's the unfortunate thing about PC tuning, is you gotta be able to either do it yourself, or you gotta pay somebody to do it. And you also have to want to do it, because if you don't want to do it, it's just more of a pain in the ass than anything. If you want it to just work, just run factory, stock settings. And that's what we ship our PCs as, unless you ask us to tune it with Chamber Tech, with the expectation that you might be calling them again within a couple of months. That's the downside. Okay. So that's a little bit about PC tuning. And there's a lot of tuners that would probably hate me for saying that. Because it's the truth. And they don't want people to know the truth. Alright. Let's get this motherboard dropped in here. Factor sounds like the way for me. Yeah, factory is fine. You don't, I mean, even with the i9 that you would have, and say the RTX 4080 Super, if you had that, there's no point in overclocking. All you're doing is, the only thing I would do is maybe undervolt the i9 13900K, so that it's not drawing as much power and it reduces the heat, because you're not going to be using the whole CPU anyway. It's going to be very hard to utilize that entire CPU. Unless you're doing like some crazy 4K, 8K video editing, renders, you know, maybe then. But the whole thing would be probably the benefit. That's it. Alright, so this is a micro ATX motherboard going in an ATX case. So I do have to move a couple of these studs real quick. And yes, I know, shame on me for doing this, but I wanted this case for the mesh. Means yes, we probably could have gone smaller in the case, but in fact I'm thinking of a case right now, but the cost was too high. Didn't make sense. So here we are. And this will house a bigger graphics card if he ever wants to upgrade in the future. Okay, there we go. Got our motherboard installed. Let's go ahead and get some of these front panel connectors done. We've got HD audio, USB 3.0, and our front panel power and reset switches, all of which are going to go through this wee hole here. Off to a good start for the kale management. Keep it nice and clean. Damn it, I forgot this one. Not bad. Looking good, thank you. Well, let's go ahead and drop the graphics card in there. Gigabyte RX 6600, 3-fan. GB GDDR6 128-bit bus. I do need to remove 2 of these. Time for the power supply. Jeez. Time flies when you're having fun. Both PCIe. It don't matter. I don't know why I'm trying to screw that. Don't matter. Stop being a perfectionist, Ben. That case does not give you much room for the back and cable management. Yeah, it's not bad. I'll show you it. I don't know if the lighting is that great right now, but it's not terrible. Sorry, I had to go outside and get some fresh air. No worries, man. You're good. There's actually some pretty decent gap between here and the I guess the back panel. It doesn't look like a lot, but there is. There's enough. It's tight. If you're putting, you know, a bunch of fan hubs back here, not going to work very well. But I mean, you got enough thickness to put a 2.5 SSD here for sure, and probably a couple cables over it if you had to. Hey, Adam Dennis, thanks for the like over there on Facebook. You as well, Carol. My grandma. Yeah, this is so awesome. Rate that cable management. I know. I'm good. Clean. So clean. I'm not going to put the side panel on because we won't be able to see it because this thing's got 0 RGB lighting in it. Going dark. We'll go ahead and fire this thing up and make sure it posts. Then we got to load Windows. I actually have to have this ready for pickup by 7 p.m. So hopefully it all goes well. trying to have it ready for pickup by 7 p.m. We'll get into Windows. Once we get into Windows, we can share the capture card, because my capture card's special and I haven't replaced it yet. It doesn't like anything in the BIOS. Weird. Need to fix that. Fix it by replacing it. That is. Side view time. It just powered on. I know you can't really see. Looks fucking awesome. Thanks, Jimmy. Glad you joined. Well, we just got a post, so I do have to I have to install Windows now. Post means power on self-test. That means it just fired up and it was able to boot the BIOS, which is the initial software on the PC before Windows. So now what I have to do is install Windows. This is going to take a minute. It's going to be boring, but it is the next step to the finish line. Once I get Windows installed and get into Windows, I can then probably share the capture card here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Been cool watching this whole time. Just made account very cool. Just made an account very cool. Oh, nice. Awesome. Good airflow. Ow, that was a fan. Good airflow. All right, we're going through the Windows installation right now. Installing Windows 11 Pro, right? Yes. Double check, make sure that was on the order. Some people ask me to still install Windows 10, but I do recommend 11 because Windows 10 is at end of life and will probably be forced to go Windows 11 in the very near future. So may as well just go to Windows 11 now. Windows is currently copying its files over to the drive, and then it's got to go through the installation. So it'll take a few minutes here. I am going to step away just to get a drink while it's doing this, but I'll be right back. We do also have a PC to troubleshoot. I'm pretty sure it's a bad motherboard, but it was dropped off earlier today, so I'll probably do that on the stream here after this one's done. All right, looks like it's rebooting now. Moving right along. Boy, there we are. Windows. This is the fun part where you hurry up and wait for the next click. All right. There's ways I can automate this, but I built so many different custom PCs, it's just stupid to do it. If I built the same PC every single time, then I could basically automate this. So like my pre-builds, I could probably do that. But customs, nope. I prefer a fresh installation for each one to make sure it's done right. If you're imaging every time, there's a likely chance that something is going to get missed and messed up. All right. We're in Windows. I just got to get the drivers installed really quick for the graphics card, and then we can get you guys connected so you can watch what I'm doing on the capture card. Still not ready. Oh, that's nice. Windows updates just stopped me from installing the driver, so hold on. Thanks, Microsoft. Not what I wanted to do, but okay. We'll do it your way. Gotta love Windows. Wind blows. Yes, wind blows. Wind blows is my favorite. I teach an electrician class at night on Zoom, and Thursday they took a test, and one of my students had an update that kicked them out of the class. Ha! Oh boy. I mean, there's ways to control the updates, but when you first install Windows, it's like, I gotta do all the updates, everything now. We can't do a thing before. Updates must come first. So yeah, the Windows updates has to happen. Yeah, go ahead, Phil. Yeah. But once you have the PC established after the installation of Windows, you can actually tell it when is a good time to do updates, and it actually listens and learns when your activity time is. So it actually sets the updates to do it outside of your activity window. Unless, of course, you shut your PC down every single time you're not using it, and then Windows has no chance to do updates unless it's doing it during your activity, which, you know, it gives it a few chances to do it within its outside of activity window, and if that doesn't happen, then it will do it with inside the activity window. So that just means that person, Rick, did not let his PC have the time to do its updates, and so therefore it just said, screw you, we're doing it right now. Because you haven't listened to our pop-ups. And IT guys, you know, we'll roll out feature updates for Windows in a business environment, and we'll push out emails and let everybody know, hey, by the way, we're going to be doing updates this coming day, and this is like a month from, you know, the actual time. We're rolling out this feature update, and to, let's say, a select group of people that we're emailing, not even the entire company. That entire select group, which knows they're on the feature test group, so to speak, will freak out on you every time, even though you've given them multiple chances to do their updates, and also made them aware, sent emails, put things on their calendar saying, hey, this update's happening at this time, or you can let it do it before. You just have to, you know, click the button, restart my PC to finish the update. And it's like they have a month opportunity to do it, and if they don't do it, then we force it, because we can't just sit there and wait on everybody else's lives, and a month is more than enough reasonable time to restart your PC. And in the business world, a lot of people will have laptops, and they'll close them and they'll just go to sleep. That's not actually shutting it down or rebooting it, it's just going to sleep. So therefore, the computer doesn't really have a chance or an opportunity to actually restart unless you tell it to. So that's what you deal with a lot of. So while they're out and about and just in the middle of the day, when I catch them all on, I send a command saying, reboot. Shit'll read your email. The nastygram emails that we used to get for that kind of stuff was hilarious. It's like, we're not going to get in trouble, because if we don't do this update, it's impeding our security, our cybersecurity requirements, so to speak. So we would have to do the update, and you know, I'm not going to get in trouble for pushing it because somebody else didn't read the email and follow instructions. But the moral of the story is, do your updates, and then the updates won't happen at a unreasonable time. They're important. That's all. So, be curious to know if he was on a business computer from his work, or something else. Could have even been a college computer. Computer from the college. The college actually still maintains that kind of stuff too. The school will. And they're less likely to give a crap what you're doing on a school computer, because you obviously haven't read the email and rebooted. We even have software now where it's on the computer and we can send notifications through Windows to tell you, like a Windows notification, hey, you need to reboot your computer to do the update. So it's like your computer is asking you, hey, can you please restart me? And they still will ignore it. They will ignore that window. Oh, go away, I can't deal with this right now. Okay, well, deal with it at the end of the day, just reboot. I think it was a personal PC. Ah, nice. Was on Zoom with their phone. Dang. That's rough. Alright, so we should, theoretically, be able to run our capture card. Hey, look at that. The capture card. Now we can see what we're doing. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and download the drivers for this motherboard and get those installed. We don't have an APU. We already did the chipset, so actually this is done. I did the chipset through AMD directly, so I didn't have to do that here. Wi-Fi is good to go. Let's download the BIOS and utility. We'll grab the App Center, but I think we're supposed to be just using the Gigabyte Control Center eventually. I think that's supposed to switch over. Huh. There we are. Just got to install stuff. Pretty much, yeah, that's all I got left to do on this one, is to install stuff, and then I'll be switching over to the next rig, which is actually a troubleshoot. It's a service, warranty service. One of our motherboards, I think, passed away today, which is actually, ironically, the same model as this board. Pretty rare when that happens, but it does happen. Rest in peace. Yes. Maybe they just got unlucky with the motherboard. Yeah, I think that's all it is. It's just either that or maybe they did something to the board. I don't know. Don't know. All that I know is that it powers on and doesn't post. And won't give us any codes. So, pretty sure it's the motherboard. Gonna switch to Team Red for CPU over the next few months. Oh boy. I don't disagree with that, but still. Oh boy. Did I already install this one? I feel like I already did. And I feel like I did this one too. Yeah, RGB Fusion's there. We already did the chipset and the AMD graphics card drivers. The Adrenaline. Was originally going to go with the 14900K. But the AMD chip is cheaper. Yep. You can basically get the 7800X 3D. Better gaming performance on that chip, by the way. And for less money. Not to mention, I believe AMD's motherboards, you can get cheaper ones than Intel right now. So it makes no sense to go to Intel. Unless you absolutely have to have Intel. Other than that, you know, it's just like, nah. I might have to change my... Well, that's actually one of the things I called out in the email, Rick, is that we could go with AMD. And shave some money off that build. AM5 should also last a few years longer. That's also one of the major benefits right now, is that the Intel socket, the LGA 1700 socket, currently is at a dead end, meaning 14th gen is the maximum CPU that you're going to get, and that's the current generation that's out. Any new CPU coming out from Intel is not going to be compatible with your Z700 series LGA 1700 socket. So you're basically at a dead end socket if you went with Intel. It's not that it's not going to last a few years. It'll last a good couple of years at least. You know, give you a good few years out of it. But you would not be able to upgrade past the 14th generation Intel family. You'd be stuck there. Whereas AMD, AM5, is probably going to be around until like 2026. They'll have support, new processors for that processor until then. So the benefit is that you'll be able to upgrade longer on AMD. What's wrong? Tried to remind you at the end of the stream to resend the email. I'm not the most computer savvy person. I was just approved from the wife to finally get something better. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll resend that. They'll probably release CPUs for AM5 longer than that. Yeah, and a perfect example is the 4500 series or the continued Ryzen 5000 series launches, like the 5600X 3D. Even though it's long past on a socket, they're still supporting it. So it's a good that's a very good point. I'm going to do a BIOS update. We're going to lose the capture card here for this process because the resolution is too low. It's on my list to get a different capture card so we can watch this stuff. BIOS update is underway. We're just waiting for that to finish up, and then we'll get back into Windows and finish up the, well, I'll set XMP and the fan curve in BIOS, and then we'll get back into Windows and finish it up here. And then we'll move on to troubleshooting that PC, which I believe is just a motherboard. I have a brand new motherboard to swap it out with, and the old one will go back to Gigabyte for the RMA process. Fun. The back-end stuff that nobody thinks about or cares about. in the PC building industry is when you have a bad part come back on warranty, you have to send it back to the manufacturer, and then you wait probably a month before you get your new one. So it's like an $80 investment to swap it out instead of you waiting for it. It's one of the benefits of our warranty. You don't have to wait. What RAM speed would you recommend for the 7800X3D? So for the 7800X3D, I would recommend 6000 megahertz CL30 RAM or 6400 CL32. That's kind of the sweet spot in between. But lower the CAS latency that you can get, the better. So, but the lower the CAS latency, the more expensive the RAM is going to be. So DDR5, and also if you're going with DDR5, nothing under CL30 to be safe. No, you could go under CL30 if you want. It's actually better. But just keep in mind when you're picking out DDR5, only go with 2 sticks. Do not try to go 4 sticks. 4 sticks will not run your rated speeds. You'll be, if you're lucky, you post running at your base speed of 4800 megahertz. Oh man, I was also approved for the construction at my house to get better internet. Oh, nice. The ISP has to run fiber to get it to you. But I'm finally getting off 10 megabits per second. Holy smokes. I feel you there, man. I spent probably 3 or 4 years of my life in a farm city or farm town that was outside of the cable reach. So it was either satellite or pay for Verizon 5G. We actually paid for both. And the priority data we used Verizon for, you know, things that I needed instantaneous instead of satellite, which was slow. There's 700 ping on that. 750 milliseconds to go from planet Earth to the satellite dish back to planet Earth. That is how satellite works. And that just takes too long. So if you're doing like a Zoom call, or if you're doing if you're playing a first-person shooter or games in general, you can't really do that on satellite. It sucks. It's terrible. Terrible experience. Unless you're on like the newer generation by Elon Musk. That stuff is actually pretty good. That's more like broadband type speeds. But they're a lot closer to the Earth, and that's why they're quicker. But anyway, yeah, I spent a lot of time dealing with that internet problem, and I will never go back. My wife is like, oh, look at this pretty house out here at the farm and the where blah blah, and like, there's no internet. We look it up, it's not on the internet list, and I'm like, no internet, no movie. no moving to. Not moving into a house without internet. I am not paying almost $1,000 a month on internet again. Ever again. Never. I refuse. But so I feel you. You had satellite for one day, got kicked out of Zoom, and canceled it the next day. Yeah, it's terrible. Maybe the Elon Musk option would be something you could use, but you're still going to have limited priority data through their plans. I kind of look through their plans, and they're limited, you know, just like any other satellite plan. You have your priority data, and then afterwards you have like this less priority data, and it's like, ugh. They call it unlimited data, but it's not. It's limited priority data with unlimited crap data. So you're still going to run into the same problem event, you know, when you go over your limit. Yeah, it's costly for the speeds, but still cheaper than, you know, buying, you know, 500 to 1,000 gigs of data through 5G. Still cheaper. $4G or 5G. Let's see. We just finished that. I gotta reboot and go in the back into the BIOS and do the XMP. And then we'll get back onto the capture card, and I'll continue to show you. Maybe DDR5 will be able to run faster with 4 sticks over time as it ages. Yeah, I mean, if you remember, Dart, the issues with DDR4 when it was first released was actually very similar. Not the fact that we couldn't run 4 sticks, but there was a lot of speed and compatibility issues with compatibility between Intel and AMD boards. There was a lot of problems. A lot. Now that DDR4 has matured to the point where it's like perfect, it doesn't matter what kit you run, every motherboard CPU there is that supports DDR4 supports any DDR4 basically. There's very few rare kits out there of RAM that isn't supported, so basically all of that's been resolved by DDR4 as it matured, just like you said. So you're right. As DDR5 matures, it will get better, but it will take time to get there. It'll take quite some time. Alright, so our XMP profile is set, and our fan curve is set. Damn, 48 gig sticks are expensive, yes. Well, I mean, that's the only way to get maxed out on the DDR5 is to get two 48 gig sticks, which gets you to, I think, 96 gigabytes is total. But that'll get you the most amount of RAM you can get DDR5 on. Oh, this card has 2 HDMI ports. I didn't realize that. I thought it was only one. Well, that's good for Jimmy, because he was asking about 2 HDMI. Two display ports and 2 HDMI. I just realized that this particular card actually has that. Oops! Most of them only have 3 display ports and 1 HDMI. Okay. Go ahead and kick these off, because I know those are going to be begging us to do it. And we've pretty much got all these done, right? We're gonna do Valley. You didn't even know they had 48 gig sticks? Yeah, that's the only way you can maximize the DDR5 right now is 2 48 gig sticks. Gets you a maximum of 96 gigabytes. Even though the board says it's rated up to 128 gigabytes, you can't actually run it successfully. Some cases you can, if you're lucky, but it's hit or miss. The best thing to do is just go 2 48 gig sticks and reach 96 gigabytes. Damn, the 7800X3D has a lot more L3 cache than the CPU I run at the moment. Yeah, hell yeah. That's the 3D cache, dude. Cries from 8 gig. Sorry, Dank. Sorry, Rick. Maybe you could run it without XMP Expo. The problem is with DDR5, when you're running 5 sticks, it might post. Now, the keyword is might. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it is very unstable. Lots of blue screens. So if you want to run 4 sticks, you're probably going to have blue screens. So the advice is just run 2 sticks. Do not run 4. That's basically it. 12600K only has 20 megabyte, I think. Yeah. Something like that. Big difference. Not really going to be using the RGB Fusion here, but... Can't decide between the two 32 gig sticks or the two 48 gig sticks, to be honest. I mean, the 48 gigs is not too far off the 64 gig kit. Or, I'm sorry, the 48 gig versus 64 gig, so I would just go 60. I mean, honestly, are you ever going to use more than 64 gigs of RAM? Windows 11 looks gross, I know. Tell me about it. It does. Cost got me on 232. Yeah. I mean, I think I have you quoted out, Rick, right now for 64 gigs. I think. Perfecto. It is perfecto. Hey, look, I'm super tiny in the windows. Hey, are you saying Windows 11 looks gross because I'm here floating in Windows 11? Oh, G.Skill makes some nice looking RAM. Yes, they do. The Trident Z5 series, the Neo series. Those are good. G.Skill Ripjaws S5. Those are slick if you don't want the RGB. Then they also have the G.Skill Trident Z without the RGB. Hey, look, guys. Hi, I'm Cortana. A little this there and a little that there. We'll get you up and running in no time. And then they have the gold and silver ones. Yes, they do have the Royal series. Yes. And anytime I look at that Royal RAM, I think of that Royal song. What's her name saying that song? Can't think of it. That's what I get for getting old. Names. It is going to be perfecto, I tell you. Perfecto. Well, upgrading to AM5 may as well get a new updated PSU. Well, what graphics card are you going to pair with that chip? If you're going to get an updated PSU, get one with a 600 watt 16-pin cable, the 12 volt high power cable. That bad boy is required for any of the new NVIDIA graphics cards. You want to eliminate the use of those cheap adapters and have a direct connection from the power supply to the graphics card, eliminating anything in between. 4070 to start off. 4070 Ti Super down the road. Yeah, so the 4070 Ti Super will use that 600 watt cable. Yes, what is that? Oh, it's from the controller? Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Come on, install faster. Let's go. Almost done, Jimmy. Almost done. Might update to 1,200 watt. Well, that's a little bit over power for a 4070 Ti Super. Like an 850 watt is about all you'll need for that. So if that's the biggest card you're going to put in there, don't even bother with a 1,000 or 1,200 watt. But if you are going to go with an 850, make sure it's a... There. Put this back. Oh. Ouch. Here. We'll put it by the Xbox. Okay. Doesn't hurt to future-proof. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have any plans, though, to upgrade ever to a 4090, there's no reason to spend the money on a 1,000 watt power supply. That's all I'm saying. Oh, come on, let's go. Cumulative update for Windows 11 version 23H2 for 64-bit based Windows. Ugh. Sounds like some good upgrades coming. Windows 11 still picky? No, it's not. It's actually pretty smooth. I'd say it's the smoothest it's ever been. Really don't have any problems with it. I've had weird activation issues where I install Windows and then try to go activate Windows after I do all the drivers and everything. And then it's like, no, we're not going to activate. And then the only fix is to actually reinstall it to correct the problem. Just weird stuff like that, but that's about it. Yeah. Oh, it's a magnifying glass. Okay. But I mean, for the most part, it's just Windows 11 at that point. Which reminds me, I gotta activate this. So I'm gonna briefly switch us over to not look at the key code I'm using. The individual code I'm going to be using as I type it out on the internet. Here guys, watch this. The new Be Quiet... Oh, the new Be Quiet PSUs looks pretty good. Yeah, they do. In my opinion, they're a little bit too expensive, but yep, they're good. Ooh, we're activated. Look at that. Restarting. Almost done with this one, and then we'll go on to troubleshoot the next one. And then Jimmy can come over here and pick this up because he was looking to pick it up today. So, being honest, Jimmy, you could probably come pick it up. Let me text you. We did all of that. That's all done and ready to go. Let's just run this. Currently building an all-green water-cooled PC on PCBS2. Oh, nice. PC Builder. Holy smokes, that's loud. PC Builder Simulator. What is that? Okay. Thank you. GG's, Jimmy. Yeah, this thing's running pretty smoothly. Normally, I'd run this for quite a few hours, make sure the PC gets nice and toasty, and check the temps later. And then also run a couple other tools like just some things to kind of put the load on the CPU and the RAM. Test that, make sure that runs good, but you're looking to get this quick, so I'm going to skip that benchmarking that I normally do. It has a Threadripper 3990X and 4 6900 XT. 4 6900 XTs? What the heck? That's a lot of graphics power, man. What are you trying to like run different monitors? Or are you using the card for different one for physics, one for the ultimate Minecraft PC? Okay, that makes sense. Now it makes sense. Yeah, what is that, like a $25,000 PC? Liquid cooled, probably 30 grand. I mean, the 6900 XTs are probably what, 500, 800 a piece. Today's pricing, not the finally be able to have a few Chrome tabs open. Right? 6900 XE. Just picture running times 4090s just for Roblox. Oh yeah, no, that hurts my head. But I understand why, because, you know, the more detail you get on those maps, or the servers that you're running, the more power you need to run them. Especially if you're trying to, like, run ray tracing. Chrome loves to eat RAM. Yes, Chrome does. Anytime I run anything, I have to close all of my Chrome tabs just because it just eats the RAM. Alright guys, I'm happy with this one. I'm gonna close it out, shut it down, move on to the next build. Or the service, anyway. Barely use Chrome, to be honest. I use it. I use it because I have a Pixel, and it syncs well between my phone, so I like it. Alright, just packaging this bad boy up. this is the next build that we're going to be working on. This one had a motherboard failure, I believe, is what the problem is. It just fires up, fans spin, no lights come on. It just doesn't post. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be just the motherboard, so we'll have to install the new motherboard. Hopefully that solves the problem. Get it fired up, and then we'll have to reactivate Windows, and we should be good to go for this one as well. That is my initial theory, anyway. Hopefully it's just the motherboard, not the GPU. I don't think it's the GPU, because I put a speaker. This board doesn't have a debugger light on it, so it doesn't indicate any like CPU RAM issues. So what you have to do is you have to put a speaker on it, on the speaker header. Old school PC stuff. And you listen to beep codes. No beep code. No beep code generally means the motherboard isn't even recognizing anything. There is no life there. So either power issue to the motherboard, which I don't think it is because fans seem to be running, and the graphics card actually spins up too, so it tells me power is getting through the board. I can even hear the pump turn on, so I know there's power. No lights though, no RGB lights, and generally speaking that would turn on even with like a CPU issue or a RAM issue. So that tells me really it's high probability it's just the motherboard that's the problem. Nice build here. Yeah, this was actually, I think we built this a couple months ago, or a few months ago. When was it? 11/25/2023. So we actually built it back in November of 2023, and we built this for $699.99. This was a Ryzen 5 3600 6-core 12-thread 4.2 gig max boost processor. Thermalright Frozen Note liquid AIO cooler, 240 millimeter AIO, and it's not the Frozen Note. This is actually the other one by Thermalright, but they're both by Thermalright. Both great coolers. 16 gigabyte CDR4, 3200 megahertz CL16 RAM, and it's T-Force Vulcan. We actually have silicon power in there though. I don't know what happened. Gigabyte B450 DS3H Wi-Fi a micro ATX motherboard, 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 3 drive, and then a AMD RX 6600 with a 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. And this is a dual chamber micro ATX case, along with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans in the case. So I mean, for $700. That's a banging deal. Brand new with a 2-year warranty. Kind of hard to beat that. That sounds like a hella good per dollar on the budget. Yeah. Oh yeah, this was a banger deal. So what we're gonna do is just replace this motherboard and then test it, of course, to make sure it fires up. Thankfully, we're replacing it with the same exact motherboard, so really all I gotta do is unplug everything and swap the board. Unplug everything, pull the board out. Let me text these guys, let them know I'm working on the PC if they wanted to watch. I think they did. Just giving them a heads up, letting them know I'm working on it. Oh, man, I did not want to let go. Got it. There's RGB, CPU fan, pump goes to the back, more RGB fans down here, HD audio, front panel USB 2.0, come on, yeah. Oh. Hey guys, I hate this about USB 3.0. We just pulled the plastic from the board. So the best way you can deal with this, remember which way it's supposed to go. But after the fact, rip it off there. And then line your pins back up and put it back on the board. Okay. But I hate this connector. Every freaking time I take one off, it does this. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. But it's obnoxious. Very nice spread, though, on the thermal paste that was on there. You see that? A pretty good spread there. A little bit off to the side here, but that is pretty clean. Good spread. Not bragging or anything, but so what's that $1 PC sale on the screen? So oops, just bumped the sound. The $1 PC giveaway is actually any donations that go to the stream go towards a PC, and the PC, once we hit a threshold, we'll go ahead and build live on stream and then give it away to our subscribers. So anybody who's subscribed on Twitch will definitely have an opportunity to it. Anybody who has donated stars on Facebook is also included, as well as anybody who has donated on YouTube, but PayPal will be included as well. So if you've donated, then you're in, basically. But generally, it's just the cost of a sub. The problem is, we just don't get enough. I haven't had one in a while because we just haven't had enough lately. Donators. But the threshold, the idea is to build basically a $1,000 computer and then give it away. Oh, hell yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, the last one we did was, I think, 2022, around Christmas time, which was super awesome. Ended up being somebody that was very local, or local enough to drive over here and pick it up and meet us. So that was cool. Got to meet them and show them how the PC worked, because it was their first PC as well. So it worked out absolutely fantastic. Oh, thanks for the sub, man. Alright, we got the motherboard free. So the motherboard comes out. Look at that wonderful cable management under there. Now I'm going to swap the CPU on the new board real quick. Already moved the RAM and the SSD over. And then I'm also going to swap these these brackets for the cooler, because we need the AIO brackets on here. And there we go. We got the CPU, the RAM, and the SSD, and the cooler bracket all back on this board, the new board. Drop this in there. We don't even have to swap the bracket. Same exact board. I'm going to go ahead and get some of these cables out of the way. To get some of these cables out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and plug them in. They don't get in the way as I'm plugging or putting this board in here. Just want to make sure everything stays out of the way. Good. All right, ready for some thermal paste. Fresh TF7 if we got it. We do. Got a huge bag of this stuff. That sucked. Don't recommend doing that. Oh yeah, good spread again. Oh yeah. Subbed, and 30 seconds later, I got an ad. Ah, you shouldn't have any ads if you're on there. If you're subbed. Maybe refresh the page. Okay. The next step, we test. Now I can't share the screen on this one because this has customer data. Yeah, I'm refreshed and all good now. Awesome. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be getting ads after you've subbed. All right, side view. But I can't do the screen share on this one because there's customer data on it. I'll reposition the camera so we can see it a little better. Down. Well, that's not a good sign. Unless I put the power switch in the wrong spot. You know what, guys? We might have just a bad power supply. Which sucks. Because it's not the same behavior as before. Well, let's test it. Thankfully, I've got these power supplies sitting around. Rare to see one of these go, though. So, I will question whether or not it's on a power strip, or if it's directly in the wall. And if it is on a power strip, if it's a power strip that's strong enough for the PC and anything else that's plugged into it. Yeah, it flashed, but it's not powering up. This is on the new board too, so there, I'll get you a top-down view again. But what I'm going to do is, we may not have everything plugged in, but God. Going to one second, guys. All right, that was just Jimmy picking up. Okay, so we're going to test the theory of the power supply simply by plugging in another power supply externally. So our 24 pin, our 8 APS, and our 8 pin PCIe. Then I'm just going to set it here, plug it in, Give us power. Still nothing. Better than a doornail. Maybe we do have a bad CPU. Have fun, Jimmy. Yeah, it just flashed again, too. So, we know it's not the CPU. We know it's not the motherboard. Beep. Well, this is interesting. It's not the power supply and it's not the motherboard. What could it be? I'm going to bypass the switch. Just to confirm. You guys see that? I've got a feeling it's... I could have said that. That's rare. There's no way it's the CPU. But the way it's acting now... Ooh. I actually just... Ow. I just bypassed the switch. We might have a effed up switch or something. Not sure. Put it back down. I'm gonna plug this card back in. See if we can get it to code. It's the switch. I'm gonna be pissed. I went through a lot of trouble for this thing to be the switch. Fires right up. Bypassing the switch and touching the pins with my screwdriver tells me our switch is not working. Oh damn, so case problem. It's power switch problem. Looks like it's replaceable, but it's going to be a pain in the ass. And it posted. So, I don't know how that could have caused... I mean, maybe it's a motherboard combination with a switch problem? I don't know. I'll have to look more into it at the switch and more look into the wires, make sure for some reason the wire didn't get melted or cut or something. I can also switch it to the reset switch and say, well, you broke the switch. Because physical damage is not covered. Feels like it clicks, though. The click is still there, so the switch does not, and I would say it's a wire. Yep, that's a weird one. Not a power supply, not a CPU, not a motherboard, or at least I don't think it's a motherboard. Well, still GG's. Yeah, I mean, we found what the problem is, but no. Now we gotta fix it. I gotta see if I even have a switch available for replacement. Oh, kids these days. What is with kids or everybody on the internet wanting to run an active wallpaper? Really quick, if you are running an active wallpaper, stop. It is using too much of your system resources. So you're actually losing FPS by running an active wallpaper in the background. It's not needed. It's cool. Sure, you can run it when you're not using it. That's the only time you're ever looking at your wallpaper is when you're not using it. But it uses resources. I want to go see what this thing's using. Do 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 do. It's using 83.6 megabytes of your RAM. It's not using any CPU at the moment. But it's using a little bit, not much. It does have a high impact on the startup. I don't know. For me personally, I hate them because they use resources. It's like anything that leeches resources from your game performance goes in the bin. Alright. So I gotta tear up the back, locate that power button cable, follow it, trace it back, and verify there's no damage to the cable. And the only thing I could think of is that it's grounding out somewhere. Because as soon as I unplug the power cord and jump it with a screwdriver, it works fine. Interesting. This is with the new motherboard in there right now. But, thinking. I gotta figure this one out. I'm not gonna do the rest of this on stream. We already know it's not the motherboard, it's not the CPU. The core of the computer's fine. It looks like it's just a weird power button issue. So we know what the problem is. I just gotta figure out what the deal is with the power button. Why it randomly doesn't want to turn on. It's very random. Weird. Maybe the contacts got sticky. Maybe something got spilled on it. I don't know. But we'll find out. Alright, guys. I'm done for the night. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Rick, I will, I think you told me to resend that email, right? So I'll get that resent. I am jumping for the night. Let me know if you guys have any questions or if you ever are looking for your own build. Feel free to reach out. If you go to the website, you can actually submit a custom build request there. And then we can build out a custom PC for you. And if you are looking for support on a PC, I also do that. And that includes laptops, so if you have like laptop repairs that you need, I do all of that. But yeah, I'm tired, guys. I'm done for the night. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and Rick, thank you for the sub. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night, guys.